Hi, Namaste children. Today we are going to start our program by taking the first lesson from history. As I told you that there are 15 chapters and the first chapter is the bricks, beads and bonds, and this chapter I am going to divide into two modules, and the first module will have 15 minutes and the second module will have another 15 minutes. And both these modules will be given to you one after another in 2 days of gap. So what we have to do, this chapter I am going to give only the nutshell or some tips, and with these tips you have to go through it and go through the chapter which is available in PDF form or the printed textbook, whatever you may have, that you can use it. And based on these tips, then you will get a clear-cut idea about the chapter. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that you will get the full information about the chapter. That will be getting only by reading the textbook. But at the same time, if you are thoroughly going through the tips what I am going to give you through this video lecture, and definitely you will be able to understand the chapter very easily when the moment you are going to read. So please listen carefully. The bricks, beads and bond is the first chapter. As I said in my first lesson, first video lesson, that is the syllabus of history, it is connected with the Harappan civilization. It is Harappan civilization, but the chapter is taken as the bricks, beads and bonds. Why these words or terminologies are used? Because these are the main sources which we are getting in connection with the Harappan civilization. That is the reason why the chapter is named after with these sources. Now, how to learn this lesson? We can see a few tips I am going to give you. The step one, while going to learn about this chapter, the step one is that we should read the chapter thoroughly by keeping a pen in our hands, and the key point should be underlined, or the same may be noted in a rough notebook by noting the meaning of difficult terms. What do you understand about this? We have to read the text. Along with that, you can keep a rough book as well as a pen in your hand. While reading, you may have some difficult terms or some important points, you will notice it. And that points you can write in a rough notebook, and also it can be underlined in the event of the textbook you are keeping it. After underlining it, if you do not know the meaning of that terms, you may go to the dictionary, and from the dictionary or from Google search, you will get the meaning, and quickly that meaning according to your level of understanding, you should write above the underlining area. In that way, you will come to know about the real meaning of the terminologies used in the chapter. That is very essential for understanding the chapter. Now, what is the step 2? Then you have already read out the chapter. After reading this chapter, we should divide the content or the entire content into different section or category. You yourself have to keep it in your mind, develop an idea, and then you have to divide the whole chapter into different content areas. Section wise you can divide it according to your interests. Then, step 3. Here we should evolve the main question from each section. This is the most area what we are going to do during the summer holidays. I do not want the answer, I want the questions only. Because questions we can derive it. Answer we will find out with the help of teacher. Don't worry. And after school reopens, we will do it. We need more and more questions, because most of the time, you know that we know the content. When the moment we are getting the question paper at the examination hall, we do not know the meaning of the question. Why? Because we are not having the habit of reading the questions only just for the sake of our convenience. We are reading the contents. So we have to be familiar with more and more questions. This will develop a critical thinking in our minds, and so that any type of questions can be understood and the correct answer we can project it. Step number 4, this stage we can prepare each question with the key answer points. Of course, this we can keep it as pending, and we will do as I said after school reopens. Now, I am coming over to the chapter. What are the aspects to be mainly concentrate on this chapter? That is bricks, beads and bond, the first chapter. What are the main area or the aspect we have to concentrate? Now let us see. Number 1, the first aspect from this chapter is that we should understand the sources of this chapter. As you know, in class 11th, I have already taught you that what is the sources of history. You know, as the learners of history, every learner's responsibility is to find out what kind of source is available for learning that particular area. So here also that being the learners of history, our main responsibility is to find out what kind of sources are available for learning the Harappan civilization or the Indus Valley Civilization. Now, let us see that what kind of sources are available. And we know that the sources are 2 types. Number 1, the archaeological sources as well as the literary sources. The archaeological sources to understand about this chapter is the seal, the animal motif or animal figures, the houses used by the people, the pots used by them, the ornaments of the people, and also the tools used by them. Now, while coming over to the literary aspect, we can see that the literary sources are the written sources. But very unfortunately, you know that it is a very olden civilization, and even though there was script used by them, still we are not able to understand the meaning of the script. So what we know that the literary sources are not deciphered so far. Deciphered means not revealed or understood by us. So we must understand that while learning the Indus Valley Civilization, since it is a very old civilization, we must understand that the only source available for us to know about this chapter is the archaeological sources. Now, step number 2. Now we have already got the sources which are available, the material used by them. Now we are coming over to the next area, is that where this civilization happened. We are just learning about the Indus Valley Civilization. As you know that Indus is a river which is flowing through the northwestern part of India. So being the learners of the history, it is our duty to identify the area or the location of the Indus Valley Civilization. So that must be the second step what you have to do. Now let us see that the main areas. Now let us see the map of northwest India. It is not the full map, the northwest part of India, where we can see that where the civilization was spreading out, it is covering the area of India and Pakistan. Now let us see that mostly this area we can see the Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. These are the first 2 places where mainly the excavations were started by the historians or the archaeologists, and finally we derived. Thereafter the excavation was spreading or expanded to most of the other areas of the northwestern part, and finally we could see that these areas are mainly connected with the spread of this civilization. Now from this, some of the important areas that we have to understand for the location of map also. Which places mainly I suggest you that, number 1, the Harappa, it is very important for map location. Number 2 is Mohenjo-daro, and number 3 is Manda, that is in the Kashmir area. Number 4 is the Ban Valley, that is just below Harappa. Now The next one is a Kalibangan in Rajasthan. Below Banwali you can see. Now the next one is a Chanhudaru, that is just above Gujarat. Then Amri. Amri is just left hand side of Chanhudaru. And Balkot, that is just below Amri. Then Dholavira, that is in Gujarat northern part. The number 10 is Lothal, just down to Gujarat. It was a port area. And number 11 is Nageshwar, again in Gujarat. And finally Rangpur, that is also on the right hand side of Nageshwar in Gujarat. And these are the important places I suggest you. Any place can be there. Normally, you know that from this list only, for the examination, they may ask you to locate in the map. So please see that these areas thoroughly known with you the location, so that very easily you can locate in the map work. Now the third step, what we have seen the source. The second one, we have seen the location, and the third one is the period of civilization. And which period the civilization was existing in our country. Now this unique culture is dated between 2600 and 1900 BC, that is before the birth of Jesus Christ. And it is for a period of 1300 years. This civilization was spreading over northwestern part of India, and it was the first civilization, and it was a classical civilization existed in our country. And afterwards we will come over to the main content area. Which are the main content area as far as the time permits? Then I will give a little more area, and the second part and more area of the content will come in the next lesson. Now, how do we know about the break between the early and late Harappan? You know that when you take this 1300 years of history, the Indus Valley Civilization can be divided into two phases, the early Harappan civilization and the late Harappan civilization. That means from 200 BC, 2600 BC to 1900 BC, there are two stages, the early and later period of civilization. It is evident from a large scale burning at some sites, as well as the abandonment of certain settlement, which appears that there was a break between the early Harappan and the late Harappan civilization. My dear children, how do we segregate the early and late Harappan? In some of the places, while the archaeologists visit, they could find that some places were abandoned with some rejected materials, waste material, or burned sites. By taking these places, they understood that definitely the civilization must have been ended here. From there onwards, another phase of civilization they might have developed. Now, next one, the agricultural technology strategies adopted by the Harappan people. You know that it was an Indus Valley civilization, it was a river valley civilization, because the people were living on the banks of the river. As you know, the early civilizations were mainly the river valley civilizations only. And quite naturally, people who are living on the banks of the river, they may prefer to do what is called the agriculture as their main occupation. So here, what kind of technologies and strategies adopted by the Harappan people? Now let us see some points I would like to give you. It is difficult to reconstruct the agriculture, the actual agriculture practice, because of the lack of resources. Number two, the seals and terracotta sculpture, which indicate that the bull was used for plowing. That means some of the seals, the picture of bull, which gives some idea that it must have been used for plowing in the agriculture field. And the terracotta models found in Kholistan and Benwali, it's also another indication. The archaeologists also found evidence of plough field in Kalibangan of Rajasthan, and the field had two sets of furrows, suggesting that the two different crops were grown together. And most Harappan sites are located in semi-arid region, that means not fully fertile area where irrigation was probably required. And also traces of canals have been found at Shodgai in Afghanistan, but it is not found in Punjab or Sindh because those places are located on the banks of the river. So with this we can find that some agriculture technologies are there. The remaining part I will come with you for the next